Hi everyone, it's Amanda here, just your twin mom today to go through a list of things that did and didn't work for us when we were having twins. This is not going to be an extensive list of must-haves, but just a couple of ideas and inspiration for things that you may not have thought of, whether you're on a budget or you're somebody who already has existing kids and you have baby stuff that you want to put to use and you're just curious to know if you need one or two or if there are other options for you. So I'm going to break it down into some things that I could not have done without during the twins' newborn stage, some things that I would not spend money on at all, and just a couple things that I think you should only need one of. By no means do I think that you need to do everything or anything that I suggest in this video. This is just my opinion of what worked for us based off personal experience. Also, nothing in this video is sponsored. Again, it's strictly my opinion of what worked for us. I really want to encourage any new moms out there, whether you have twins or multiples, to be resourceful with the things that you already own, especially if you are an expecting multiples mother and you already have children. You can still use a lot of the same stuff that you had with the previous babies. Or if you're a new mom and you're having twins and you're just starting from ground zero and you don't have any baby things, I want you to know that you don't need to have everything. So for starters, I'll start with the list of things that I couldn't have done without. And this is primarily feeding focused. So when the babies are first born, you're going to be exhausted. It's going to be very tiring. But the name of the game is keeping your babies fed, keeping them happy, and getting them to sleep. So because of that, these main items that I couldn't live without are really directed around feeding and making the feeding schedule easier and more sustainable. Our goal was always to make it so only one parent needed to feed the babies. When the babies were born, we still had a 2.5-year-old to take care of. So it wasn't like we could both be feeding the baby and then let our child roam free. So one of us was with the toddler and then the other one was usually feeding the babies if we didn't have somebody helping us in the home. So if you're looking to keep the babies on the same feeding schedule, then you're going to need to find a way to feed the babies at the same time. If you're going to nurse your baby, then the first item I would recommend is a twin feeding pillow or a feeding pillow that allows you to hold both babies at the same time. In the beginning, you may be able to get away with a bobby pillow if you already have one. Prop it up with pillows and get comfortable with feeding your babies at the same time. If you're interested in continuing to breastfeed and you need a bigger pillow, then it might be time to invest in that twin pillow. If you're looking to get the twin pillow right away because you don't have a boppy or you don't have a friend that has a boppy, or you just really committed to nursing the twins, I would look for something either used or affordable. I ended up trying to nurse our twins and was really into it, really excited I was going to do it. And I was 2 weeks in and it was not something I was able to continue doing. I had a really hard time getting my babies to latch at the same time. And just the exhaustion of trying to figure out, I was really going insane. Now, I'm sure there's mothers out there who were able to do it the whole time. Good for you, happy for you, but don't feel like a failure if that's not something that works out. But regardless, I did try to nurse my babies, used the twin feeding pillow, spent like $70 on this twin feeding pillow that I used for 2 weeks, and then it had no purpose. So if this is your first time nursing or you didn't have success in the beginning, but you want to try this time, I would look for something used, something that you can put a new cover on and wash that and put that over the pillow. But I would not spend $70 on a twin feeding pillow, especially if you don't know if it's something that's going to be successful for you. So that leads me into the next two feeding items that made a world of a difference. Because we had transitioned to bottle feeding, the next item I highly recommend specifically for twins that are going to be formula fed is the Baby Brezza. So if you're not familiar with the Baby Brezza, I like to describe it as a Keurig for babies. It will dispense the proper formula amount, the proper water amount at the right temperature at the push of a button. For a singleton pregnancy, this is probably more of a luxury item. We were fortunate that we were gifted this actually for our first child. So we already had one for our twins. And I really could not imagine in the middle of the night, just throughout the whole day, making 12 to 16 bottles in those first weeks manually. So measuring it out, filling the water, then trying to get it warm enough so that your babies actually took it. It's totally possible. You don't need the Baby Brezza, but if you're able to get it gifted on your registry or use your registry discount to get it for yourself, I highly recommend it, just because you'll save so much time. And there's so much craziness going on in that beginning phase of life as you're adjusting to becoming twin parents, that spending time making bottles was just not worth it, especially since they're going to be taking those bottles for a full year. That leads us into my last feeding product that I highly recommend looking into if you're going to be bottle feeding. And this is going to be bath seats. So you know those like Angel Care bath seats, I'll try to show a picture up here, that you use to bathe your newborn in the tub so they don't fall out. Well, that's what we used to feed our babies. We tried to use bouncing seats after we were trying to find a new way to feed the babies at the same time that only needed one parent. And the bouncing seats, like, you know, the ones that you put on a swing or take off the swing, didn't really work. Our boy twin hated it. So he was uncomfortable. He wasn't holding his head up. It just wasn't a good mix. And they also sell these twin feeding seats for like over $100. At least that's what they were when I was looking. So we happened to have had one of those bath seats, and we had gotten a hand-me-down from my sister-in-law that we were able to use. So what we did is we took these bath seats, put them up on a couch. I'll post a picture right here. Put them up on a couch, laid a blanket over the bath seats, and then put our babies on there. And we would sit there and literally just hold the bottles. They were at the great angle where the babies were actually sat up, and it was at the right seating position where their head wasn't wobbling around and they had enough support. That really was a game changer for us. They're super lightweight, so we could easily take them downstairs if we were feeding downstairs, and they were very inexpensive. In our case, we didn't even have to buy them, but I know at like Target, they go pretty cheaply. So the next category of things that I'm gonna go over are things that I think you only need one of. With having twins, the cost of things is going to multiply. You're going to need double the diapers, double the wipes. So if there were ways that I could minimize costs and only use one of something, then I was going to look for that. Also, we were very, very fortunate to have gotten a lot of baby gear hand-me-downs. So we had the opportunity of having duplicates, and I can tell you what was worth it, what wasn't. For starters, you only need one room. We kept our twins together up until they were about 13 months old. And really throughout that time period, they didn't wake each other up. I think they actually liked being around each other. When they started to get older, past that 6-month stage, they got familiar with their surroundings. But for the first 6 months, I could go in there and take care of a baby, and the other one did not wake up. So that made things a lot easier in terms of feeding them in the middle of the night and changing them, because everything was in one spot. Also, by default, if you have one room, you're also going to minimize duplicate of nursery needs. So you only need one rocker, one changing table, one place for diapers and wipes, one sound machine, one baby monitor. That was really helpful as well. We didn't need to buy multiples of those things. I do recommend 2 cribs if the space allows, but for the most part, you can do it with one room for sure. The next item that you only need one of are like the big baby items. So I'm talking like the swings, you know, those baby entertainment centers. If you already have them from an existing pregnancy, then give them a try. If you feel like your twins love them, then maybe look into getting something used to get the second one. But what we found is we actually were able to have 2 swings and 2 of these entertainment centers. And for starters, my son hated the swing. My daughter loved it. So we really only needed one because only one baby liked it. But even if both of those babies do like the swing, you can just rotate them through it on their wake times. This keeps the babies stimulated. Take the time to figure out what your baby's like, and each baby is going to be different. So don't expect one baby to like it just because your other baby does. So I recommend only one of those big baby items. Okay, the next category of things I'm going to go over are items that I would not spend my time or money even purchasing. The first one is going to be like baby specific or twin specific appliances. I'm going to put an asterisk next to the Baby Brezza. That is one baby appliance I would absolutely recommend. However, I'm talking about sterilizer or, you know, like those baby food makers, stuff like that. One of the questions that I would ask myself before I felt compelled to purchase a twin product or a baby product was to ask myself, is there something in my house that I have that I can already use? So in the case of a sterilizer, if you have a pot and a working stove that can boil the water, you have a sterilizer. That's an easy way to keep your things clean and fresh without having to purchase a whole nother item that sits on your countertops and only serves one purpose. Now, if that's something that's important to you, by all means, and if you have the finances to do it, go for it. But these recommendations, again, are ways to save money, especially since having twins is going to run the costs up regardless. So those types of things I would not recommend getting. Another item that I wouldn't bother wasting your time or money on is a diaper genie. So with the diaper genie, we had one with our first daughter. So we used that with the twins. And what we found was that we were filling that diaper genie up so quickly. It's not that big, so it doesn't hold that many diapers, and you'll go through so many diapers, especially in that first phase. So we were spending a lot of time emptying out the diaper genie, tying it up, pulling it down, and then refilling it with those replacement bags. Because we were filling it more, we had to buy those refill bags more often, and the cost really started to add up. What we did instead to save us time and money was to just get a regular trash can that has a lid on it that will close the smell off, and we put that in our guest bathroom. So this worked out great because it held so many more diapers. We weren't emptying it as often, and that closable lid kept the smell out. Plus, we'll be able to repurpose that trash bin when we're out of the diaper stage. We can use that as a regular trash bin throughout the rest of our house. Also, we can use regular trash bags. So instead of paying the upcharge for these specialty bags, we could just use the same trash bags we were using in all of our other trash cans. So that was a great cost saver for us. So the last thing that I would recommend not spending your time or money on are matching clothes for the twins, basically up to 6 months. This may be a personal preference. I loved the idea of having my twins match. And maybe some of this is because I had boy-girl twins. If I had had the same gender, maybe I would have liked it more. But because my babies were born in that fall time, the first 6 months of their life was focused on keeping them warm and keeping my sanity. So for the most part, they spent their first few months of life in pajamas because it kept them warm. They were easy on, easy off. I didn't have the capacity to fuddle around in the drawers, try to find matching sets to put them in just so they would look cute and spit up on it and then basically go to bed in later. So again, personal preference, but if you're looking to save money, it's not something that I would stress out about, especially if you're already getting hand-me-downs from previous children or from family members or from thrifting. There's no point in trying to find things that match. Now, with that being said, I really did like when people gifted us matching sets for when they were much older. So when my twins were probably about 9 months, they started to become more mobile and they were awake more often. And that was really when I got into the habit of changing them into real clothes for the day. Plus it was around summertime. So they were able to be in onesie snaps rather than pajamas. If matching your babies is not important to you, I wouldn't even spend the time looking at them. So that concludes today's video. That is just my short list of a few twin things that may help you. Again, I just want to give you guys some ideas and inspiration to think outside the box. I'm just hoping that I could shed some insight to any expecting moms of multiples. If you are a mom of twins, please comment down below if there was anything that worked for you that was kind of out of the box that could help other moms out there. Or if you're a mom of older twins, help us out by leaving a comment of items that were helpful in the years to come. So that's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching.